you don't want to belong to a certain church, that pastor is not God. Religious and slavery. Some people are enslaved by their pastors. Nobody can take your destiny from you. I raise my powerful hand on you, your family, your nation, and everything will be fine with you politically. Greetings. We continue our series on the book of Exodus. We are still with the Israelites at the foot of Sinai and how they interact with one another, especially in situations where somebody has done something against the other person. How people pay back and how they respond to these things. Because once human beings are together, yes, one will fault the other. Today we want to talk about restitution. Restitution. Restitution is the act of making up for damages or harm. In this particular text, which we are going to look at, we are going to look at making up for or restoring or rebuilding something from its destroyed or damaged state to its original state. In life, there are accidents, there are destructions, there are damages that are caused by human actions. But there are others that are unexpected. Some are not deliberate, but just occurs without any real provocation. But some are also deliberate. Some can come from some people's faults, indiscretion, and sometimes irresponsibility. But it's not all the time that it happens like that. So we want to look at restitution. That is making sure that damages are cared for. Harm is actually dealt with. However, we still need to find amicable ways of resolving such things. And we know that if we don't deal with harm, damages, injuries, it will affect our relationships and hamper the progress of individuals, families, and communities. We will focus on restitution models suggested in Exodus chapter 22, verses 6 to 14. Exodus 22, 6 to 14. And I read, "If you are burning thorn bushes, and the fire gets out of control and spreads into another person's field, destroying the sheaves or the uncut grain or the whole crop, the one who started the fire must pay for the lost crop. Suppose someone leaves money or goods with a neighbor for safekeeping and they are stolen from the neighbor's house. If the thief is caught, the compensation is double the value of what was stolen. But if the thief is not caught, the neighbor must appear before God, who will determine if he stole the property. Suppose there's a dispute between two people who both claim to own a particular ox, donkey, sheep, article of clothing, or any lost property, but both parties must come before God. And the person whom God declares guilty must pay double compensation to the other. Now, suppose someone leaves a donkey or ox, sheep, or any other animal with a neighbor for safekeeping, but it dies, or is injured, or is taken away, and no one sees what happened. The neighbor must then take an oath in the presence of the Lord. If the Lord confirms that the neighbor did not steal the property, the owner must accept the verdict, and no payment will be required. But if the animal was indeed stolen, the guilty person must pay compensation to the owner. If it was torn to pieces by a wild animal, the remains of the carcass must be shown as evidence and no compensation will be required. If someone borrows an animal from a neighbor and it is injured or dies when the owner is absent, the person who borrowed it must pay full compensation. But if the owner was present, no compensation is required. And no compensation is required if the animal was rented, for this loss is covered by the rental fee. We want to look at respect for others and their property. We want to look at rightful ownership of property, and we want to look at redeeming responsibility. Now, respect for one's other people's property. Exodus 22:6 says, if you are burning thorn bushes and the fire gets out of control and spreads into another person's field, destroying the sheaves or the uncut grain or the whole crop, the one who started the fire must pay for the lost crop. Respect. God wanted people to respect the property of others. We should not use other people's things to spare our own. You know, you don't go and start a fire somewhere because you want to burn some things and you don't think about the other person and the fire spreads to other fields. We see it all the time. Somebody starts a fire and the whole area will be burnt because of the little fire he wants to set to clear something. God here spoke concerning recklessness, specifically in relation to setting fires, bushfires. He said in Exodus 22:6, if a fire breaks out and spreads to thorn bushes so that that stuck grain or the standing grain or the field itself is consumed, he who started the fire should pay restitution. Sometimes when it happens, they want government to pay. If you build on waterways, build in the middle of the road to block water from flowing freely, that causes flood and deaths, you should be held responsible. Even these days, churches are even building on waterways. It means that we need to respect other people. We need to respect other people that lives around us. It's not because we just want to build and we have money. So we go and build a big building to block the water and the whole place is flooded. And other people's buildings will be falling apart. When they say they are breaking that your house, hey, then you go and bribe people not to break it. It is unacceptable in terms of Christian values and virtues. You overspeed and overtake to cause accidents. We need to pay restitution and not use immoral legal defenses to get away with it. God sees all we do, and we will surely answer for such injustice, disrespect for human beings, disrespect for the community. We should respect others in the things that we do, from bushfires to building on waterways, building in the middle of the roads, and where we even throw our rubbish that causes harm to other people. The next is rightful ownership. Exodus 22:10 says, now suppose someone leaves a donkey, ox, sheep, or any other animal with a neighbor for safekeeping, but it dies or is injured or is taken away and no one sees what happened. It says the neighbor must then take an oath in the presence of the Lord. And if the Lord confirms that the neighbor did not steal the property, the owner must accept the verdict and not pay, and no pay will be required. Right. Here we talk about rightful ownership. There were even judges who were charged in Israel to determine rightful ownership over stolen property, as we see in Exodus 22, 8 and 9. And now we come here and says, but if the animal was indeed stolen, the guilty person must pay compensation to the owner. If it was torn to pieces by a wild animal, the remains of the carcass must be shown as evidence and no compensation will be required. In all these cases, God was concerned with one thing: restoration of harmony in the society. And if, in a way, it was clear in God's mind that whoever has done the wrong thing knows in his mind and his heart and his conscience that he's done it. And God is watching when these things are done. God is watching. So if you unjustly take someone's land, house, possession, animal, God is not pleased with you. And God is the one who judges. In their cases, they have judges who are men of God who does that. For instance, if a widow or orphans are being denied their rightful inheritance, don't condone and connive with the unscrupulous members of your family to commit such acts, because God will surely show up, because evil shall not have the last word. As he says, God is looking. He says, must then take an oath in the presence of the Lord. And if the Lord confirms this in your heart and you know it, then go ahead. But if you know you are conniving with evil and in the darkness, God is everywhere present. He's omnipresent. He sees all the things that we do, all the shortcuts we do to deny people of what is their rightful thing. You can use the lawyers, you can use the judges to do those things. What is legal is always not moral. Today, I am telling you that we should make sure that in all these cases, if it is just an accident and it's your fault, accept your fault and go ahead and pay compensation. Don't go and bribe policemen, lawyers to change the verdict in your place. Redeeming responsibility is the last. Exodus 22:14 says, if someone borrows an animal from a neighbor and it is injured or dies when the owner is absent, the person who borrowed it must pay full compensation. If the owner was present, no compensation is required. And no compensation is required if the animal was rented, for this loss is covered by the rental fee. Redeeming responsibility is for both accidental and the wayward persons. Civil society that sets up a response to evil that includes these two primary principles, that is redeeming responsibility, redemption and responsibility, serves its people well. Responsibility where even the animal is injured and it is no fault of yours, but you borrowed it and you were benefiting from its services. If you borrowed somebody's car, please take good care of it. And if in the process something goes wrong, don't go and park the car for him who lent it to you without repairing it, without saying anything. By all means, when he sparks the car, you see that the car he gave to you, that's not how it is. You can't go back and start defending, the way you gave it to me, you know that something happened when you took the car. If you are living in somebody's house and it is leaking, please, 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 don't say it is not mine, so I won't repair it. Yes, we should not also take advantage of others because we are landlords. If you live in the same house with your tenants and the tap is spoiled and there's a problem with the electricity and you are present in the house, as I say, if the owner is present in the house, redeeming responsibility demands that the one who receives the rent should handle such issues to redeem his house and not slap them on the tenants and threaten them with ejection orders if they complain. We have to be fair because we are all under grace and the mercy of God sees us through. May God help us so that we know that things would happen which is not our fault by accident. But when things happen, we should really respect others in dealing with their property, and in their cases. We should also realize that they are rightful owners of certain properties. If it doesn't belong to you, don't use false means to take it from the person. And redeeming responsibility means that both the ones whose things we borrow and the one who lends the things, they should come to an amicable understanding. Nobody should try to really go in such a way that it will only be he who will win. Everybody should have a situation that he will feel comfortable and he will feel not cheated in these situations. Because our prayers are good, our fellowship is good, but if there's no respect for other people's property, and if we take things that doesn't belong to us and we are able to take it by force, And if there's no redeeming responsibility, we are not living the rightful Christian life that God expects of you. God bless you.
To get in touch with other messages of the servants of God, follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel.